On this episode, Terrence from theminuscule.com asked us to take a look at his website, audit it, and asked us for some advice on how to manage his paid traffic for his online e-commerce store. Let's take a look. So Terrence asks, he runs a store called theminuscule.com. It's an e-commerce store targeted towards, with products targeted towards toddlers and babies. So his target market is obviously parents, in particular probably mothers. So he has a few questions off the bat, and then we'll get into the site audit. So he says, firstly, for Instagram, would you guys spend money on shoutouts when you're generally new to gain new followers, or spend money on Instagress, Robo-like to slowly build up a list? Well, Terrence, first of all, I would be very hesitant to shell out money for an automated Instagram solution. I know that people do have success with it, and it is a perfectly valid and viable way to grow your audience. However, most of those tools are against Instagram's terms of service, and so that's a risk that you just need to factor in. I'm not saying do it or don't do it, but I am saying that it's a risk. Frankly, if I were you starting out, for your first 5,000 to 10,000 followers, you could just spend 15 minutes every few hours and just finding your target audience on Instagram and literally just following everyone. Follow 50 to 100 people at a time manually, and between 20 and 30% of those people are likely to follow you back if you have good content on your site. But that's even getting a little bit ahead of myself. Frankly, there's no value in having a lot of followers in and of themselves. Like, just because you have a lot of followers doesn't mean that they are monetizing. And so at the end of the day, you're an e-com store. Your KPI is revenue, right? So I mean, if I were you, I would just make sure that you have a solid base of content on your Instagram account, but then reach out to influential mommy bloggers on Instagram, or other Instagram accounts with a parent demographic. Just reach out to them one by one, hit them up and say, hey, I run this store, I sell these products, I think your followers would get a lot of value from them. I'd love to run a special discount specifically for your followers, and then maybe you and I can set up a rev share, or we can work out some sort of deal that way. If you just take the time to hit up Instagram accounts one by one, I think you're gonna have a lot of success with that. And in answer to your question, is influencer marketing like that valuable? I think that influencer marketing on Instagram, especially influencer marketing like the quote unquote micro influencers, which are to say people who aren't commercialized, they don't have millions of followers, but they have a very engaged, very active following of 10 to 20,000 people. I think that you're going to get a higher index, higher ROI, more bang for your buck, paying those people to promote your products, because A, their followers are much more engaged, and B, they're smaller. They're not a brand name, so you're going to be able to get away with paying less for the exposure and awareness that they generate. So I love that idea. I think you should definitely go with that. Your second question, for Facebook ads, is it always better to research on what products to put for ads, or should I just place everything with different ad sets and pray? So I'm not really sure what you're asking there, but with Facebook ads, the general recommendation that I give to everyone is to test it. Like, you can't outthink your market. You really have no idea what people on Facebook are going to buy and not buy, and what will resonate with them and what won't. So when in doubt, just test it, and you can check. I mean, you can get leading indicators in your analytics very, very early on. So you only spend, maybe 5, 10, 15 bucks, then you know whether or not you can kill that product. So I would recommend just testing each product, trying to find a product market fit, target fit for each product. And if you can't, kill it, move on to the next one. But you can't outthink or out research your way out of that question. You've just got to go for it. But before you do any paid traffic or really start, sending traffic to your website, let's take a look at your website. So let's check it out on desktop first. And so I'm seeing a few problems here. First of all, like your splash page here, and I hope you guys can see this, but your splash page here is just a giant branded page with your name. There's no call to action. Frankly, I'm kind of sitting here just waiting for like something to pop up to tell me what to do. It's not readily apparent that you can scroll down. I would highly suggest. I've worked on e-com brands for a very long time. There was a very large brand name e-com brand that we were working on back when I used to work in an agency. You've all heard of it. And they went from a very direct response, like, here's our small banner on our homepage, and then it's just products. They went from that page to a page very similar to this, and their conversion rates just plummeted. So I would definitely recommend you stay away from an e-com homepage that takes up the entire above the fold, and you can't even see that there are products below the fold. Secondly, you've got the little hamburger menu here. That's fine, but you've got a sign up button right there, so I can't even really get to that hamburger menu without clicking your email sign up button. 10% off your first order. It's not a terrible call to action. So yeah, change that homepage. I would also put the menu at the top, just because this is kind of an awkward menu placement. I would also probably recommend including the price beneath the images. We'll take a look at this on mobile, but if the price only shows up on hover, that doesn't really work on mobile, and that's just not a good user experience. And at the end of the day, your user experience should be optimized for mobile, especially if the majority of your traffic is coming from Facebook and Instagram. Like 80 to 90% of that traffic is going to be on mobile. So frankly, it doesn't even matter what your desktop website looks like. It all matters right here. But we'll stick on desktop for now as we continue this audit. So if we click on, this, I would definitely recommend doing something different about your product pages, because like this is kind of just a mess. It's not at all readily apparent where the call to action is, which is add to cart. This is just like, there's just pictures everywhere. This is really confusing. It's just a confusing experience. I'm not sure what it looks like on mobile. We'll find out shortly. Another thing that I would recommend doing is adding in like a suggested products plugin down here. If you're using Shopify, there's all sorts of plugins for that, as well as some details on shipping, that sort of thing. If we go back to the home page, again, you need menus up here, but if we go back to the home page, so you do have a contact us. That's good. Really, I mean, your site's not bad, and you have a lot of product images, which is great and better than a lot of websites do. So, you get the sense that like, hey, there's really products behind these purchases. And so that's great. You just need to do a better job of optimizing your site for conversions. It doesn't need to look pretty. It just needs to be super simple and easy and as frictionless as possible to make that purchase. So now let's take a look, and I'm going to zoom in and hopefully you can see this, but now let's take a look at what the minuscule looks like on a phone. Because at the end of the day, the phone UX is what's most important. And so on a phone, it is a little bit better because I don't know if you can see this. You've got your sign up and your Facebook message kind of over the top there. That's a little bit messy. You've got the horizontal scrolling menu here. I don't really like that. Okay, so when we're looking at the product images, we can see actually the price. That's not on hover, so that's good. That's a bonus. A bonus for the mobile user experience. Let's click on one of the products. And so this is a little better. So this website is actually I would say the UX is pretty awful on the desktop, but it's not terrible on mobile. So you've got the primary image there, and then as you scroll down, you have the add to cart right there, the price, the description, and then more images there. Yeah, that's not terrible. I don't hate that. Yeah, I think that your mobile site is not bad. Again, I'm still not in love with your homepage there, just because there's no call to action. And at the end of the day, e-com stores are all about call to action. You're not trying to create a brand at this point. You're just trying to get legs on your store and validate the idea. As you get a steady flow of customers, then you can do, you know, sort of artsy, brandy things. But for now, you want to convert people when they visit. And so I would switch up that homepage. But other than that, your mobile looks fine. So yeah, I hope that answers your questions. I hope that helps anyone watching this video with some optimizations that they can make and some checks that they can do on their own stores. Let us know how it goes, and good luck. Keep hustling.